Yeah.
Yes. And we're back on a very special rainy Sunday, World Cup Sunday, post-Thanksgiving weekend. Another episode of the Soccer Dad Pod. It's been a minute since we've done one. Obviously, the holidays got in the way. World Cup games got in the way. A million different reasons to not have one recently. So we decided call an emergency meeting, and it's time to put some of our nonsense back on tape. So, without further ado, I'm just going to get right into it. Two carpool co-hosts today. We have the Zach Lewis, a.k.a. Grady's dad.
Hello, hello.
And the infamous episode uno, Eddie Chavez, is back.
Hola, hola.
How you doing, Eddie?
Doing great. How are you guys?
Doing good.
Doing good.
Good.
We this is kind of like a modified, a little bit of planning, not a lot of planning. Kind of called an audible this morning. Sent a text around, and Eddie was literally sitting in his car, probably looking at shit he shouldn't be looking at.
No, I wasn't. I watching porno this time.
I just pulled up, rolled the window down, said, "Hey, get in. We need a third." So he's like, "Hell yeah, let's do it." We are at the one of my favorite places. We were here the other night with Mr. Ed Gedemeyer. We're at Urban Chestnut Brewery in Midtown. Let's start there. Zach, what on a Sunday after probably,
Mini.
5 days worth of...
I was telling Eddie before we started recording that this is day 6, I believe, of something going on where libations are flowing.
Yeah.
So I resorted to a new tactic. I'm going with the Bushelhead cider.
A little light. I have issues with cider in the wintertime and stouts in the summertime.
Yeah, we covered that before. I feel the same with you on stouts in the summer. I don't go there, but cider, I think when a nice cold, blustery, wet day. This has got a little cinnamon, a little spice to it. It's good.
Well, the other thing too is cider is like when you have had days of eating your face off and drinking copious amounts of booze to handle the holidays. Cider's just a little light, bubbly.
Yeah.
It's hair of the dog,
but it also doesn't go down quite as fast.
No. Yeah.
So it's good for you. I mean, water's better.
Yeah.
Water's boring.
I was drinking water, but the name is tequila.
This water has a weird smell to it.
Yeah.
You, Eddie, how was your Thanksgiving, man?
It was great. Very much. We didn't do much other than that I was making my tamales.
I saw that.
Yeah, you sent us a photo. You trying to rub it in?
Sent us photos, but not
Yeah,
tamales.
but hold on. I have to say it didn't come out right.
Oh, no.
I mean, they were okay, but not good. Not what I was expecting.
You were disappointed.
I was disappointed, yes.
So what would have happened if you would have served those to your mom?
A picture she would probably smack in my face.
Was that bad? It wasn't like, honey, you forgot salt.
No. I think I don't want to put it on, or I don't want to wash my hands, but I think it was more on that corn powder.
Cornmeal.
Cornmeal. It was not where I needs to be, okay? And on my side, I don't think I added too much water or more water enough to come out the perfect wise.
Did your kids eat it?
We eat it. We all eat it. Yes.
Did Kike look at you sideways like, Dad, you blew this?
No. More my cousin. He was like,
no.
But the good thing that we don't have people over. That will be sucks.
Well, we're gonna hold your feet to the fire. When you do get it right, you're supposed to bring it to us for a taste testing. You know,
I will,
that
but I
was the
want
deal.
that you guys trust me that I made it, and you don't think like, you probably stop and buy it somewhere, because it'd be
No.
wordless to bring.
I will live stream it. We'll make sure. We'll have you FaceTime us, and then
That'd be great.
bring it
What
to
we
practice.
need is a video of you making them much like spraying the concrete and the gunite in your pools.
Oh, you see the last video?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So let me. I can't believe I didn't do that. So let's do that real quick. For those of you that are listening, please don't forget to give us a follow. And every now and then, when we have guests like Eddie today, we like to make sure that they are fairly represented. We want to tout what they do. And in the first episode, we tried to tell as many soccer moms as possible, you put pools in backyards, right?
Correct.
So for you soccer moms listening, and you're there, if you need a pool, Eddie's your guy.
Let me know.
Give him a call. So a couple things too. Had different debates over the last few days, Thanksgiving related. One that came up twice was Thanksgiving food itself.
Sure.
Specifically, and probably going to lose some fans here. I think Thanksgiving food is kind of shitty. I'm not a fan. The turkey, the dressing, it's just
The food is not my favorite part.
yeah. So I'm glad you're here.
I agree with Zach. And do not get me wrong for any means. The only reason why I like Thanksgiving is because you get to be with your family,
Right.
like on the same house for more than a couple hours. I agree about the food. I think it on everybody's taste. I think turkey recipe is too dry. It's too boring. It's like
Yeah, and this
too much dry meat.
I agree. And if you don't season your mashed potatoes, don't put them out.
And
If you don't put a ton of garlic and butter, I don't want them.
Yeah, I mean it's the whole thing. Like it's literally like this was after let's see here, Fireball, then red wine, then Jameson. We had this discussion the other day, so it made a lot of sense at the time. The highlight was if Thanksgiving food, the staples,
Yeah.
were so good. If they were something that everybody would agree is amazing food, why are there not Thanksgiving restaurants year round? Why are there not multiple opportunities to make a meal in which turkey and dressing and you know what I'm saying? Like
It's a good point, but it's also people go to extreme lengths of time to prepare these meals.
I mean,
for them to be
deep fried
mostly
turkeys
mediocre.
are 45 minutes anymore.
Yeah.
You do that? You do deep fried?
My preferred method, and this is going to be controversial, is spatchcocking.
Well, I'm curious. I have a horrible image in my head, but spatch.
So spatchcocking is a French method where you literally slice down the back of the bird, break open its
Okay.
spine, and smash it down so you have an even cooking surface as opposed to a full bird that cooks unevenly throughout the time.
Yeah.
So you spatchcock it, insert with a syringe-like device, melted butter, little garlic in it,
Yeah, but
rub it down, grill it. I do it with root vegetables on the same tray. So sweet potatoes, regular potatoes, onions, whatever you want to throw in there, a little bit of bacon. Put that on the grill, smoke it for an hour.
so my question is this: Is it still turkey?
Yeah.
Okay, then I'm out. Like I just think turkey.
But again, I'm with you. I'm with you. What I'm saying is, you can't just throw turkey in the microwave.
It's the best of the worst options. Is that what you're saying as far as like preparation goes?
Yeah.
What about cold cuts? Cold cuts, like,
I like cold
deli
cuts.
meat.
Well,
okay.
What's cold cuts? I never.
Like
Just deli meat,
sliced ham, sliced turkey. Do you eat sliced turkey?
I
we
do.
We do all
That's what I do for my boys for school when I make a sandwich or something.
That's our go-to for deli meat is sliced turkey. We put it in salads or a sandwich.
See, I think most households are probably fairly similar in that regard.
I
right?
would think so, given
So
the
doesn't
price
that
of turkey right now.
automatically like put turkey at the bottom of the meat food chain? And so why put it on such a pedestal for such an important day? I don't get it. I mean, I
Listen,
get it.
I can't argue with you. I mean, I am with you. I don't like I don't like what Eddie said. I don't like dry,
Well,
tasteless meat. And sometimes when you do a
All these
Thanksgiving
Hispanic
turkey,
families that I know that they live here for Thanksgiving, none, they buy a turkey for their holiday.
right?
It's all Mexican food.
yeah.
We have a really good dishes
Yeah,
that they go so well, and it's so popular that probably every single Hispanic family have it that night. Pozole, tamales, and tacos.
Sure.
sounds good to
Man,
me.
and
I mean, I would rather.
and the tacos, they usually make a variety of 4 or 5 different meats: adobada, asada, chorizo, and steak. I don't want to sound disgusting, but head.
Yeah, head cheese.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's tacos of different meats.
Yeah.
When you have like a flat, where you cook all of them, and you just put your tortillas in it, and you have this different sauces, mild, hot, and spicy, cilantro and onions, lime juice. Everybody's happy.
Are you a
Also-
shredded cheese or no shredded cheese?
No shredded cheese on our tacos. No.
So one of the cool things we did this year for the first time is my cousins live in the south side of the city, and they do and have for 10 years a sushi night the day after Thanksgiving. So they slice up sashimi style tuna, salmon, shrimp. They pre-make the rice. They have the paper. They have the rolling utensils. And you come in and you make your own sushi rolls. And that's a really nice non-turkey related food choice.
Yeah.
Yeah, the leftover thing, like I'll acquiesce to leftover turkey off the big bird, the bone, the chunky stuff. Primarily, preferably if it's dark meat. I don't like the white meat.
Yeah.
But white bread,
Yep.
mayo, American cheese slice, and boom, you got so much right.
White bread and Miracle Whip for me.
Yeah.
I know we kind of talked that last time, but
So one of the other things, I mean, we could debate food all day long, but the other thing that kind of came up in a couple other conversations is the cardinal sin of family discussions, right? Of can't talk about religion, can't talk about politics, specifically at holidays, and all of those came up at the tables we were surrounded this past time, and I avoided 95% of it. Just was not kind of in the mood. I was more in the soccer mood with the games that were on. But I had a thought, and tell me what you guys think. In today's environment of Facebook, Twitter, etc., right, where everybody it's a pastime to argue online, specifically about those things, those big things. Do you think it could potentially be more healthy for families, for relationships within families, to try to have those conversations face to face, as opposed to knowing the positions, the beliefs just digitally, and then never really addressing the elephant in the room?
I guess I would follow that up with a question, which would be, have you ever seen anybody change their mind during one of those conversations?
No, but I feel there should be a certain amount of own it, take equity in your belief cycle, because I mean, families are really about character and belief systems and respect, etc. Right?
I will say that probably I will, in my opinion, I will probably not follow that conversation if I'm on someone else's house. I will respect that we are in their house,
Sure.
and according to the temp of the other guy. If the guy know that he's a chilling guy and he's reliable to talk,
Yeah.
and not explode,
Sure.
you can start have the conversation. But if you know that guy, he's like a heat, and as soon as you start bringing it up and something that he don't like, he's gonna just avoid it.
Yeah.
In my opinion,
Yeah, I think
even if you want to bite your tongue and be like, ah.
Well, it's just like there are so many instances in which these tables that we've all sat around our whole lives have kind of escalated in tension, given the current environment.
Absolutely.
just wondering at what point do we break the cycle and say, okay, look, let's have that conversation, as opposed to let's just kind of disrespect each other from afar.
I think the big thing for me is a lot of people are coming into these situations like a stretched balloon, meaning they are full.
Yeah.
And they just need one little prick to pop them. And unfortunately, that happens more often. I think we need to figure out a way to release a little of that before we have those conversations.
Well, I mean, I did pour a fireball at 10 a.m. on Thanksgiving
That's what I mean.
Day. Like,
Yeah,
I started there.
Yep.
Well, all right. So let's move on a little bit here. We are, as I mentioned a little earlier, we are sitting here at Urban Chestnut Midtown having a couple pints. The boys are over at training. On the screens, we have Germany and España. First round. Let's talk about the World Cup real quick, guys.
Okay.
A couple of segments here. Number one, first segment is let's talk about the upsets.
Sure.
First, you have Saudi Arabia overtaking Argentina in the first game. You had Japan over Germany. You then had this morning you had Costa Rica, who had lost 7-0 to Spain. They beat Japan. Morocco just beat Belgium
2-0.
Second-ranked team in the world.
Iran beat Wales. I don't know if that's really considered an upset, but these are games that were not supposed to go that way.
Correct.
Yeah.
So here's my question. Is the golden age of the superpowers, are we witnessing it coming to an end in real time? Because this seems to be an unusually high amount of underdog wins on paper.
I don't know if it's that or if it's becoming there's becoming more parity within some of these other nations that in history have not ever been able to really compete with the Germany, Spain's, Italy's even of the world. Now you have coaches from these countries that are spreading out and creating academies within these other smaller nations and building style and approach around those successful programs. And so you've got nations like Morocco and Iran and even Saudi Arabia who are now able to compete when in the past that would have never happened. Japan.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's a situation of those powerhouses are getting worse because France, Spain, Germany, England still have dominant teams.
Correct.
It's just that I think that the leveling up has happened. It's not quite there yet because you still have to win a lot of games. One-off games, as you can see with Japan, it doesn't matter.
Well, let's see. Canada today was officially knocked out. They lost both games, and if you watch the first half of
he's out for sure.
Canada's out.
Gone. Canada, Qatar,
Iran?
No,
they're
still in.
Mathematically still in.
Yeah, nobody's out in our group because
we all kiss our sisters in that group.
I saw something today. It said it was a cartoon and it had a guy in an American kit and a guy in an English kit. He said, "You know what? Who would have thought we could have ended this game as if we never played it?" 0-0.
So Canada's on the way home, huh?
Yeah,
No, they still have one more game.
They'll finish out the group, but going into it, they were one of my early picks as an underdog that could go far. And,
Same here.
You know, that first half of their first game, they were on fire, and they come out today. They score in 67 seconds or whatever it was.
Alphonso Davies.
Couldn't keep up. So kind of parlaying off of that, talking about the introduction of these new teams that are really starting to shock waves. Jared, one of our normal co-hosts, he had brought up in a Twitter post talking about the lack of Italy in the World Cup. No Azzurri, right? Mm-hmm. And it kind of like played in the back of my head because of what we were just touching on, kind of the development of all these other nations, etc. And I think about the youth development in particular globally. The amount of kids that are playing the game, the amount of training access they have, the coaches from established nations that are now expats in all these new regions and areas. I just think I see it getting qualifying is going to get harder and harder and harder in all regions. I mean, look at CONCACAF, right?
Yep.
When Trinidad and Tobago, the size of what, Tower Grove Park, when they can qualify, and Costa Rica isn't exactly a metropolis.
No.
And the same thing is happening in Europe right now. I just think it's all up in the air.
It is all up in the air, and every single game is totally different. Totally different.
Well, how are you feeling right now about your alma mater?
L3.
To be honest with you, and I think it's a lot of on our community, we were not expecting much from Mexico. Let's be honest. We don't have the right. I would say probably it's 50-50. Our new players, they are not hungry for victory, and I think the coach has been make a few mistakes, and to not mistake about not bringing the right players. I mean, that's just my opinion.
Yeah, Mexico seems to me it's a huge team that has such a legacy, but is completely in transition right now.
Yes,
and the old guard doesn't want to let go.
No,
and in this region, when you have a Canada doing what they're doing and how they're doing it and the way they're growing their team, even the United States, because clearly we hit a rut. I mean, let's call it what it was. Not qualifying for the World Cup, not qualifying for Olympics, etc. We've purged the vast majority of kind of the old guard per se.
Yeah.
You look at our young talent. The top 18 players, 16 are in Europe, playing in top divisions. And that's making a difference.
Right. Same over here. This is how we feel. Why he didn't bring players that they are more competitive to the level where they are? And example, I know he did a great play on the first game, and I'm gonna pick on Ochoa.
Mm-hmm.
But I think, in my opinion, and not only I think on a lot of Mexican people, we think that he should not be there.
Yeah. Well, he's a brand. The sponsors love him. And kudos to him
Because it's all about money.
He made the save. But I agree. At some point, the hardest thing to do is to let go, right?
Yeah.
And especially in sport, because you feel so obliged to, reward those that have given, on the field. But there comes a point where you gotta cut ties.
Yes.
Yeah, and I don't know if Ochoa is the scapegoat, but I understand what you're saying, and I think the U.S. has suffered from that many times in the past. We don't have that this year.
Bradley.
Exactly.
Yeah, Bradley.
Yeah, Michael Bradley specifically. I'm sure he's a wonderful human being, but I never got that.
Right. No, and it's one of my note topics here is actually 2 games in, 2 ties against quality teams, especially England in particular. But Adams as the captain, because there was the big debate issue. I mean, it wasn't really as loud as I thought it would be whenever he was announced, given the captaincy. Because clearly everybody thought it was going to be Pulisic, but it wasn't. They went with another youngin. And on the field, you tell me your opinion. I think he's been, if not the best player, definitely the second best player for us in the 2 games.
Without a doubt. I mean, there's nobody who's been as consistent on and off the ball, controlling the tempo out of the back.
Well, I would put one other name in there, and this is just not me being a homer. I think Tim Ream has played fantastic.
Tim Ream has been solid, absolutely solid, but he doesn't have that inspirational characteristic that Adams brings to the game. He's a solid guy that you want to look to.
Have you seen the ponytail, though?
I have.
It's awesome.
And it's amazing. But Tyler Adams tackles, and he has just really, really stood out to me. And Aronson, again, to me, is one that I'm kind of surprised, talking about coaching, that he hasn't been in the mix earlier in these games.
No, I'm baffled with that and with Urania.
Well,
now, if he is in fact healthy, and you're on the biggest stage.
Yeah.
You need to win. At some point, you got to win a game.
Yeah, should we bring up Wijnaldum and see how controversial we can get on that deal?
Well, I missed that.
He came out and said that he's hearing from sources inside the U.S. that Reyna was never hurt, and that Berhalter said he was hurt because they were having an inner conflict, and he got the rest of the team to kind of buy off on the idea that we're going to tell people Reyna's hurt.
Jeez.
Now that's coming from Wijnaldum, who's trying to become the president of the U.S. Soccer Association. So,
well, did you see what happened this morning? Somebody at USSF, in anticipation of the Iran game, they put some social media posts out there, and what they did was they took the Iranian logo and they widened it out on the flag. So in the post, instead of it having the national
Islamic
logo, the Islamic State logo in the middle of the flag,
Right.
they widened it out in, quote, solidarity with protesters in Iran.
but nobody signed off on that apparently.
Well,
the Federation came out and said we did not.
Yeah, it was the intern. Blame the intern.
It was the person running the social media and the Photoshop.
But so one other thing is stat that I saw, the game on Friday, 20 million viewers.
It's huge.
20 million on just a group play. Now, mind you, clearly it's Black Friday and everybody's on vacation, but I knew it was going to be big, but I didn't think it was going to be that big.
Yeah.
And here's the crazy thing. If I'm recollect properly, here is 15.6 million English language and 4.4 million Telemundo,
Really?
domestic Telemundo on the feed.
Wow.
So, it says two things. Number one, it's a big game. Number two, the diversity in viewership is accelerating at a pace, that I don't think anybody of us could have imagined, right?
Yeah.
No, but it's great to see.
Yesterday, Mexico had the opportunity on the first half.
They did.
I don't know if you guys noticed, but Argentina was playing intense, too tight
Yeah.
in the first half. And as soon as the second half, like 5 minutes later, I even told my cousin, I said, Argentina, it's on right now. They are pushing right now. They are pressing. There they are. 5 minutes later, first goal.
Yeah.
I scared my youngest son and both of my dogs with a violent outburst of golazzo when Messi struck that.
Yeah, and there were two
first
goals,
goal.
though. Beautiful goals.
They were beautiful goals.
Yes.
We haven't had a lot of really pure, other than Richarlison and maybe even Davies this morning.
Well, the Japanese.
Those were, against
The
Germany.
one from Brazil, it was a good goal.
Yeah,
too.
Richarlison.
Yes.
The
that's
scissor
great.
kick.
Yes.
Yes, that was,
Well, and the thing is about that goal, if you go back and watch it, go on YouTube, people. If you're listening to this, the Richarlison's the second goal of that game, he completely intended to do what he did.
oh, absolutely.
Because when that ball came rocketing across, he specifically scooped it up across his backside, and it's like that's not normal. No. Like most.
And you know what? That's the way that he played it, futsal.
Oh, yeah.
The way he just scooped it up.
Well, you think about when we had Claudio on. He talked about how in Brazil they don't go out and play on a normal pitch. A lot of their early training is on courts.
Yep.
Tight spaces, very quick, and Richarlison showed it.
Yep.
I mean, I'm hopeful that Neymar can come back in the knockout stage because they're going to need him. But they were fun to watch.
Oh, yeah.
Well, they going into the tournament, they were my pick. Because when you look at the roster, you're like, damn, that's really stacked. And then during the game, it became completely evident that you watch them move the ball around the field, and then you look at the Thiago Silva in particular in the back. He is there, Tim Ream. I mean, he's pretty good. I mean, he's a little bit better, but you start to ask yourself, where's the gap? Where's the hole in that lineup? Where's the hole in their system? Where's the hole in their bench? And the answer is there is not one.
There isn't.
So I think right now, having watched all the players, big players play at least minimum one, if not two games so far myself, Brazil is, I don't see anybody stopping them.
France.
They can slow them down a little bit, but I don't think they can stop them.
I think France will lull them to sleep and keep enough in their way to where they will not be able to move the ball that way. And then the second they make a mistake, France has enough to just counter. And then once they've created that initial break, they can open the field up and they can just dominate.
Well, but the thing is with Brazil right now, that this team, everybody wants to talk about Neymar. Everybody wants to talk about the plethora of tens that they have. But let's if you're really objective looking at that team, their strength is that back line.
Yeah, I agree.
And it's and historically, when Brazil was on the mega runs, in the 60s, 70s, and most recently with like the original Ronaldo, everybody talks about the number 10s, but their defense was the best in the world, and that's where they're at right now.
Yep.
So, it's one of those things, which another note that I had here and kind of things that I wanted to bring up, and it kind of ties in a little bit of all that. You talk about France because when you look at France's lineup, France is heavily an immigrant-based team, right?
Yes.
A lot of foreign
North
nationals.
African.
Yes. And it made me think of, remember in the summertime, whenever Mourinho came out, and he suggested to FIFA that FIFA should start stopping the transfer of players from Africa in particular in order to give Africa a chance to develop and compete against the European nations.
Yep.
So, as good as the African teams are doing right now, think about all the players that are utilizing pretty soft immigration rules to gain citizenship for France in particular. Look at Canada. Look at Germany. Look at any of the powerhouses.
The U.S.
The U.S., right? Or these nations that can afford to do are really pillaging these other nations. Is Mourinho right? Should FIFA step in? Should the rules be altered so that some of these burgeoning nations aren't bleeding off all the top talent all the time? Because it's getting a little ridiculous at this point.
It is, but to what end? I mean, if you do that, are you discouraging the talent development in some of those nations? Because the stage, the money, because that's what it comes down to, right? I mean, if you've got a player who's coming out of Senegal who can get French status,
big mistake,
and potentially get world stage attention, or not.
No, I get it.
I don't know.
I don't think there's actually a way to stop it. But when you do look at the African nations in particular and what the rosters would look like if all these expats were...
Oh, it'd be great. I mean, I listen, I'm not a purist, but it would be great to see that, especially as somebody like sitting in this group right here, 3 parents of 3 boys born and raised in the United States whose potential of spot could be taken by somebody who benefits from that system. Yeah, selfishly it'd be great, but I also understand that if I was in the opposite situation, I would love for the opportunity for my kid to go play in France or in Spain or Germany or the U.S. or Canada. If it was a better opportunity for my son, I would push for it. So that's where I don't have a strong feeling either way.
I only really kind of brought it up because it's just like all of these things are really intertwined anymore when you look at the upsets, the underdogs, the development, the transfer of these, third world, players that are going to first world powerhouses, that is accelerating. And it just seems like if FIFA doesn't get some of this under control, it's going to look as if it's 21st century, 22nd century pillaging. Some of these nations, they deserve the opportunity to truly compete and not lose the talent that way either. I mean, that's just my 2 cents on that one. Eddie, what do you think?
I agree with you. I think you're totally right.
Do you think loyalty is a loss, or is it just about the money?
No, I don't think it's about the money.
You think they just want to go and play for a better nation? That's it?
Yep.
Man, that's it is. It's the world we live in right now, right?
It is.
I mean, it is. Like you said. I mean, and ask you the question yourself.
Right.
What
would you do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If someone, I don't know, and it's probably, if someone will call us, any of us, someone from Spain.
Sure.
Hey, we watch your kid. We love the way he play. We can see potential on it. We want our team. And
yep.
You will not even think about it. You will say, when we packing, let's go.
Well, no, I would call my boy and say, brush up on your Spanish.
Yep.
Guess what you get for Christmas? Duolingo.
There you go. I mean,
and that's what I think, and it doesn't only include the money. Now that's obviously a lagging measure if there's success, but it's more about the opportunity.
Yeah.
It's the environment. It's the training. It's being
everything
around that quality.
Not to change conversation, but what do you boys think about this trip coming up in San Diego?
No, mine's stoked.
Oh yeah, no, because they want the eyeballs.
Thank you.
It's the experience.
Yeah,
as what and my son, it's all he talks about.
Yeah,
He's like, I just want to be prepared because just to know that who we're gonna play and who's gonna be around the game.
Well, and it's also about showing up in big games too. And so I read the paper this morning that CBC won the state championship last night against a team from Lee Summit.
Yeah.
Jeremiah Love, senior, running back / receiver, had 5 touchdowns last night in a state championship game. He's already committed to Notre Dame.
See,
those eyeballs, I mean, that showing up in that type of game and having that type of impact.
What I would love is these CBC cadets, right?
Yep.
I would love to see them play my East St. Louis High.
They did.
They went.
They did in the first game of the season, and they lost to East Side.
Yeah, you saw the Twitter photo of the the state championship where the offensive line was standing next to the guys they were about to play, and it was like 8 inches.
Good luck.
Yeah.
Well, but future guest Justin Gage is the receivers coach. For the cadets, and so they won their 2nd state title in a row, I believe. And but he's also a Missouri Hall of Fame athlete in football and played basketball, and his son played soccer with us for a while, and now his daughter is still playing. And so I like the idea when the World Cup comes around, it's always an opportunity to get some non-soccer caring people to engage in at least some conversation about the game. And a lot of it's still to this day about scoring. Wow, there's just 0-0. I go, but think about that. Think about the fact that in football or basketball or baseball, a touchdown is a big deal. But it's probably not the only one. There's going to be more. Or you can kick a field goal. Basketball, a 1-1 game would never happen in today's game. Baseball, that's very rare.
Except for U7.
But the first year kid pitch. Oh my God.
All right.
But I want to say one more thing. I just think that it's so important to illustrate how magnificent it is when a goal is scored at that level. They are rare.
Well, we've had these conversations with non-soccer people, right? That tend to diminish the game because of the low scoring, 90 minutes of nothing, and what's the point, and all these things, And I've kind of given up on the educational argument anymore because it's like, look, you just don't get it. There's a reason. The amazing thing is, in a sport in which 0-0 is not atypical, 1-1, etc., and there's no overtime, and all these other things that come into play. Ask yourself, why is it still the largest sport in the world? There's a reason.
Yep.
And it's not easy. It is not easy at all.
Exactly.
I would love any one of those guys place the ball from 20 out and hit the crossbar.
Yeah, I know we're up on a break, but I want to tease up a conversation topic, which is flopping.
Flopping. Oh yeah.
We got to talk about it.
Like pancake.
Oh God. Yeah.
All right. Here's what we're gonna do. We're going to roll out. Eddie, don't go anywhere. Zach, thank you. Take a listen to this quick break. Give us a follow. And if you would like to be a supporter, shoot us an email. We are soccerdadpod@gaslightstl.com. And we're going to roll out here. We'll be back with some more banter in just a second.
And I love you like the mountains. Loves the way the morning.
Hey everyone, JB here with Soccer Dad Pod. This break is intended to be both informative and an opportunity. Little did you know that we are accepting sponsors. Really. And as a sponsor of the show, you would get to talk to a demographic primarily consisting of parents, some soccer fans, and most definitely drinkers. Consider this an opportunity to let our listeners and social media followers know what it is you do and why you deserve some of their money. If interested in this incredible opportunity, just email us at soccerdadpod@gaslightstl.com. Now, back to the mindless banter.
1, 2, 3, 4.
There you go.
You
No
like American music. I like
All right.
American music.
That's
We're
good.
back.
Good news.
No goal.
That's not good. We are back from our little break. Got a couple refills going here. I've got Zach Lewis, excuse me, and Mr. Eddie Chavez today,
Yes.
Carpool co-hosts. We're down here at Urban Chestnut in Midtown, drinking some cold yellow beers, waiting for our boys to train and finish so we can get them and have our Sunday back. We're down here watching Little World Cup, chatting soccer, chatting turkey, all those other things. Germany was just scored and then called back. Offsides, was it?
It was offside,
yes.
on a free kick.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, does it seem like there's just an insane amount of goals being called back these days?
Yeah.
Yes. This morning on Canada,
Yep.
Yeah.
there was one.
Yep.
Yeah. The Morocco game, there was the one early.
Mm-hmm.
It's just they're piling up. So we're rolling back in here. I know we're just kind of freestyling a little bit today. Kind of a post-Thanksgiving catch-up. You mentioned you had a topic, Zach.
Yeah, I feel we started talking about this a little bit, but I feel like a soccer apologist a lot around this time of year.
Yes.
Meaning I had to explain why I like it and why I put myself through watching a 90-minute match that could end in
No
zeros
goals.
with
Yep.
no goals. And one of the topics that always comes up right after low scoring is these guys that, get a bump on the hip and go down as if they've been shot in the back
Yeah.
and roll around on the ground for an hour and raise their hands and cover their face. And it's the way I've always explained it, not giving any credence to the acting on the field, is that because of the way the rolling clock works, there are no timeouts in soccer. There is no way to stop what's going on other than, a a ball going out of bounds or a free kick or a foul. And so that's one thing. The other is one way to score a goal in a low-scoring game is to get fouled in the penalty box.
Yeah.
And so, again, I'm not giving credence or saying it's okay because I can't stand it. I hate it. It happened yesterday in the Argentina-Mexico game. Dude went down right outside the box, grabbed his face instantly. No one touched him.
I know. And I know exactly what you're talking about. I watched the entire game. I even told my cousin, and I said, I hate this shit. Mm-hmm. Why you faking something when you're not even being touched? In my opinion, FIFA should be put up a red.
Yeah.
No, so cards I think are going to be subjective at the time.
Sure.
Right? I think what FIFA should do is jack up the fines. Just automatic, because they go back, they review the film on every single game
absolutely.
When it's done. And I think they should add into that protocol when it's clearly like embellishment, that embarrassing kind that we're talking about now. Start finding them. Find the national associations, whatever it is, $10,000 per fake or whatever. Fake. And I think that here's my thing too with that, the apologists, right? Is that basketball players do it all the time.
Agreed.
Absolutely. You stand there for a block or you go up for a layup. And
what's the other thing that I hate?
What's that?
When your team is winning and they kill time.
I not as an apologist, but I understand why it's done on all those fronts. I understand why you fake getting hit in the face. I understand why you kill the clock. It doesn't make me like it.
Well, here's the other thing, too. You figure of a 90-minute game, you're really talking about 100 minutes of play on average, right?
Yeah.
With added time. In 100 minutes of play, how many times do you see the fake roll, the fake face grab, etc.? I mean, realistically, you're only talking about once or twice a game. Sure. Maybe 3 or 4 if it's Brazil.
If it's Brazil, more than that.
Which is kind of like,
or Colombia.
Oh my God. Why? And the thing is, like, it's predominantly like CONCACAF South American teams that I don't get it.
I did make an anecdotal statement like that to my son yesterday, and Mexico is not South American, but it is a Latin American country. Do you, Eddie, feel that it is somewhat regional for the dives and the rolling? Is that a Latin American thing, or do you think that's global? It's just hyper-focused in Brazil.
I think it's global.
It just seems to be way more pronounced with, again, CONCACAF, South American teams in particular. You don't see, or you don't tend to make fun of, say, a Germany, right? You don't make fun of a Germany, or Germany in particular doesn't have this shtick of being known for rolling around and grabbing their faces. Croatia, Serbia, all these other like kind of traditional Central European teams, right?
Yeah.
I think we should do a study on that. I think before we go into anecdotal research, I think we should do a little digging in that and see.
Are you saying our word isn't enough?
No. No.
If I said Croatians on average roll around less than Brazilians, you would.
I think that's a great hypothesis that we need to
I'll put $1,000 on it. I mean, have you seen Kovacic's face? Like, he doesn't look like the kind of guy that's going to roll around.
No, Kovacic and Modric. I mean, we didn't get into that earlier, but man, I just love watching. I know you, JB, you and I talked about this as a Chelsea fan. Kovacic is solid. I mean, just it's fun to watch.
Well, going into the game today, Beckett and I were talking about the game early on because Canada was up. And he's like, Croatia, what have they done lately? And everybody forgets they were in the final last World Cup. And then when you look at that team in particular and you look at their 10 and their 6, they're two best friends. They grew up together, and it's Luka Modric and Kovacic.
And you have Perisic, too. I mean, they're not...
It's phenomenal. So, Eddie, After these first rounds of games here, who do you like?
France.
You like France?
Yes.
What do you like? What in particular? Why?
I think they have a really good and speed player, Mape.
Oh yeah,
He's fast. And I can see in his mind that he don't really care if he's got a foul. He just go for it and try to score.
I do. You know what? I love that about him.
Yep.
He is the antithesis of Neymar. Like if he sees an opportunity, he's going to fight for it.
Yes.
He's not going to go down. If he goes down, typically it's because
He's been fouled.
he's been fouled.
Yeah.
And what I'm saying that it's because the last game who he played, I don't remember.
The France's first round. Oh my God. Was it? Hold on one second. I'll find out. Groups.
Wow, I can't.
Yeah. No. France, Australia, Denmark. Denmark. Wasn't it Denmark?
No,
No, they played Denmark yesterday.
No. They
No.
played them.
Because Mexico played Dinamarca.
Yeah. Their next game is versus Tunisia. Their last game was versus Denmark. They won 2-1.
First game was Australia.
Tunisia.
Or Tunisia, yeah.
Oh no, Australia.
Yeah, Australia.
4-1.
Yeah.
Sorry.
They played Australia, and then they played Denmark yesterday. And then they play
Tunisia.
Australia.
Last.
Tunisia. No, they play Australia next. No, Tunisia.
we're
Well,
talking
anyway.
in circles here.
We are. Sorry.
The way they play, it's just like they didn't play calm, but the intensity didn't lower down. It was the same the entire game.
Yep.
And Mape with his speed, it's just, I don't know. It's just I see potential on the whole team.
Well,
I wouldn't be surprised if they are. I'm not saying I hope they win, but they'll be probably in the semis.
Well, real quick then, let's. This is an Mbappe's current teammate at PSG. News broke this morning that it looks like there's a deal that is about to be had or inked or has been inked that will bring Messi after this year to Inter Miami
This summer.
with Beckham.
And not only that, Busquets.
Yep. Yeah.
Really?
So Busquets and Messi to Inter Miami starting this summer.
Yeah. So that means come late summer, fall, Inter Miami's traveling around.
With Messi and Busquets.
If City gets Miami on the schedule, because they would be in the Eastern Conference, so it wouldn't be in the same conference.
Correct.
But we have the potential of, if it happens to be a home game, for Messi and Busquets to be playing here next fall.
You kidding?
No. Yeah. Just
Or if that doesn't happen, I hope the ownership fights for a early season 2024 game.
Yeah.
Because I think he'll be there for more than 1 year.
Well, he's only 35.
Right.
Who?
Messi.
Yeah.
So realistically, I mean, he's arguably going to take less of a beating in MLS, just due to the fall off, realistically, and plus the lack of games. You know, because when he's playing in Europe on the teams that he's been on, between domestic
Champions,
cup,
UF,
Champions League, everything else, I mean, you're talking minimum average of 2 games a week, if not more, especially during pool play. He's going to come here, and that's not going to be the case. It'll be 1 to 2 max a week.
Well, they did set it Wednesdays and Saturdays.
Yeah.
MLS schedule for 2023 is Wednesdays and Saturdays only.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's one of those things that it's going to be really, really interesting. But I've got mixed feelings about the signing, and I understand the signing. If you have an opportunity to bring Messi into the league, to promote the league, to sell seats, to sell jerseys, he's going to do all that.
Yep.
But we've been doing this since the Beckham experiment, first go of catching all of these high-profile players significantly in their past due years, and it's starting to get to the point where it's almost cliched. When you see these deals, is it cool? Sure, it's cool. Is it good for the league? I don't know. I think that's a debatable topic.
I don't know. I mean, you have the Ibrahimovics of the world who had some success. Wayne Rooney. Thierry Henry. I don't know. I think it's good. I think any exposure in a positive light for the league is good. I just think that if they're going to open up the coffers for a Messi at that amount, and they haven't announced the dollar amount, then why not try to go after somebody of that, maybe not that ilk, but somebody in that realm, and from an American standpoint, get a Pulisic, get a McKinney.
Well, but they're all going the other way.
I know
They all want to be in Europe.
I get that, but
It's a catch-22. I totally get it.
Yeah.
And I think that the altered schedule, playing opposite Europe comes into play. All these other things. I just can't wait for there to be a time in which the blockbuster signing, the kid is 25, not 35.
Well, why not have the MLS and maybe even, I don't know. I wish we would adopt more of a parity in schedule to the European leagues instead of trying to compete with American football over here.
Yeah.
And go with the same schedule they have so that we could potentially compete in a Champions League like that.
I agree. The problem is the league made its bed a little bit. When you've got Chicago, you got Minneapolis, you got these northern domestic teams, you can't really play in Chicago on January 15th, with the risk of...
Oh, I know. I wish we had a different way of dealing with that.
No, I know. Spend the money. Dome it, retractable, whatever. They can still do grass. I mean, they can do amazing things. The league just needs to generate the money to make it work.
Yeah.
And there are teams in Norway, right? I mean, they're playing
in
January.
Yeah.
So they figured it out. Denmark.
Yeah. Iceland.
Shit. Come on, we can do this.
We just suck at this then. So what do we got on tap the rest of the week here, Eddie? What do you got? How many polls you got this week?
I'm going to start. I'm going to go lay it out tomorrow. A new job up there in Telegraph. And it's going to be a big one. I think it's going to be 40 by 18 with a round spot outside or touching the pool. Mm-hmm. You're looking at 3 months tops for that one.
So you're saying you've got time and room for new ones?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Telling you, for you soccer moms that made it this far.
The one we shoot on Wednesday is not even a month that I started that one. And look at that. It's already at 16% done.
Yeah.
So, Zach, what you got this week because we are heading out to Palm Springs.
That's correct.
The 3rd. The boys are going out there. The boys are in a group. They will be playing LAFC, Nashville United.
In Dallas?
No, New York Red Bull.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, so...
Easy schedule.
Yeah, for... I think that's why they're all laying in bed like, holy shit.
My God.
Yeah. Look at the group. So we're heading out there next week. And for those of you listening, we have a number of guests lined up here coming into the end of the year. We're going to be catching up with some people out while we're in California.
Yeah, it's going to be good.
Some scouts, some head coaches, some ex-players, just tremendous stories that are going to be coming down the pipe. So please give us a follow. Spotify, Apple Music, Apple Pods. Shoot us an email if you have any questions or suggested guests or just want to really just ream us. We're cool with that too. SoccerDadPod@gaslightstl.com. What I'm going to do now to kind of walk us out here, I got a very good friend of mine who, unbeknownst to me, was scheduled to play here at Urban Chestnut this lovely Sunday. The Rick Wagner from the Screechin' Halts. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to play a little bit of his music. He's a tremendous singer-songwriter, even better guitar player. So I'm going to play a little bit of his tune to walk us out of here. Guys, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We're going to get this thing going here, and we're going to turn it off. We're going to refill our drinks, listen to a little bit of Rick and his pal. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch up with you next time.
If you can get me there, I can pay you back somehow.
Is this guy playing right now? Is him?
Let me ride shotgun, so I can keep a lookout for love that won't be found. I heard she's running from the city, lost in the winds and settling in the